What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and seemingly much later than I thought, because I thought it was going to happen during the day, but it is still Project Black Flag Friday. I didn't think we were going to get an article for some reason, but it just came out later than expected. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what we have for us in this Friday update. So, Project Black Flag Friday Core Fantasy Roleplay. By now, you know that Project Black Flag is the code name for Cobalt Press's endeavor to update and streamline a core fantasy RPG based on 5e Dungeons and Dragons SRD 5.1. One part of this effort is publishing the core fantasy role-playing rules to be released under an open, perpetual, and irrevocable license. That might be a bit of word salad, though, so let's talk this out. Project Black Flag is the whole big idea of what Cobalt Press is doing. It has a lot of pieces, some of which are not even visible yet, but it includes things like creating partnerships, streamlining rules, and supporting the community. The core fantasy role-playing CFR rules are a big piece of Project Black Flag. These rules will be available to anyone who wants to publish game content with them. CFR is the rule system that will support Project Black Flag supplements you create and the ones we create. Cobalt Press aims for the CFR rules to keep 5e products that the community has already created relevant, and we want to do it while providing a compatible option for the future. How to find a core fantasy role-playing game in the wild. But you're going to need to know what's on store shelves, right? So we made a logo. That's what this is right here. The Core Fantasy Role-Playing logo will be available to all partner companies and freelance publishers who create content for Project Black Flag. This makes it easier for gamers to identify 5e compatible releases. For instance, a virtual tabletop might show a CFR logo in a product release, or you might find a PDF on DriveThru RPG in both the CFR section and the 5e search section. What's in the rules? The Core Fantasy Role-Playing rules will contain basic classes, lineages, spells, talents, and monsters. This includes a complete player's guide and a GM's monster vault with encounter building tools. We expect to have the CFR rules complete for public use by the end of the year. That means freelancers, companies, and individuals can begin creating using CFR rules by 2024 at no additional cost with no strings attached. Title, your logo, title, your branding, your creation, your creative team, and then their rules here, the core fantasy, showing a book kind of diagram. Get involved. We update our Project Black Flag FAQ page weekly to keep you in the loop. I didn't even know they had one, so we'll take a look at that here. Finally, remember the playtest packet number 1. Feedback is due Monday, February 27th at 11:59 PT. Use the feedback form to tell us your thoughts. Getting your input provides the design team time to review while preparing playtest packet due, coming in March. We appreciate all the submissions to the community was provided to date. We're paying attention. We look forward to more to come until next week. So I will be making a separate video filling out the survey myself, as that's a thing I seem to be known for doing as well. But let's go ahead and check this FAQ page because I haven't checked that yet. Okay, so what is it? Code name for a larger series of efforts by Cobalt Press to update, streamline, and publish a core fantasy RPG based on 5e SRD 5.1. This, I think, was, again, because they dumped the SRD 5.1 into Creative Commons. I am curious what it was going to look like before that change was made. This includes the new Core Fantasy Roleplay rules released and all available under Open, Perpetual, and Irrevocable license, which will be the Orc license more than likely. It also includes 2 core books coming to Kickstarter in 2023. So that'll be the player book and also the GM book. Project Black Flag maintains core compatibility with 5e products you already know and love, but with a Cobalt spin. The new book aims to embrace 5e and expand upon it. Our goal is to keep 5e products vibrant and available, both in print and on our VTT partner platforms. Why publish core fantasy rules? Some ask why bother to publish 5e-centric core rules. This SRD is in Creative Commons and it can be reprinted by anyone. What more could we possibly want or need? Glad you asked. The core fantasy system is built on the bones of 5e, but there are 3 primary reasons to go further. 5th edition core rulebooks are going away, which is true. The 5e Monster Manual Player's Handbook and DMG will not stay in print. New players must either use purely digital rulebooks, which works for some people, or find a new version. We aim to keep the spirit of tabletop alive by producing beautiful, inviting versions of the core rulebooks for those who prefer to play face-to-face and those who don't want to pay a monthly subscription to play. We want to keep 5e vibrant and strong at the heart of the community of players and publishers. Your investment in 5e will be supported by Project Black Flag because it's compatible with the game you already know. The SRD is incomplete. We talked about this in the design diary, but it doesn't have everything, right? We've been at it for 8 years, starting before 5e even launched. However, key elements are missing from the SRD. It only includes 1 feat and 1 cleric domain, right? So it's only 1 subclass for each. Not to mention, it's time to put a little Dragonfire back into the combat engine. Cobalt Press has been tuning up 5e since the Tome of Beast design work started in 2015. These ideas provide new mechanical options, delightful weirdness, and frankly, more remarkable flavor that would never come from a Fortune 500 company. Instead, we chose to keep the community with extensive playtests for our books to keep Strange and Eldritch in our fantasy gaming. And speaking of community, community is crucial. Project Black Flag is the greatest open design effort Cobalt Press has ever attempted. The vital part of open design has always been with the community. Our existence is literally not possible without the community, fans, content creators, other publishers, the old guard, new freeform new kids, and everyone in between. We're all in this together. Design for Project Black Flag is led by senior game designer Celeste Konowich and a trusted team, but they do not work alone. We count on tabletop fans who love 5e to keep its spirit and subsistence alive, far beyond any Wizard's Ivory Tower, part of the culture we forge. And when it's done, Project Black Flag will remain free from any single corporate enterprise, even ours, in the commons and deep in the dungeons. So it isn't a new game. In July 2022, Cobalt Press team started working on Project Black Flag. Then in January 2023, as our biggest fears were coming true, Cobalt Press knew that Project Black Flag's timeline had to change quickly. In our initial announcements, it was necessary for Project Black Flag to be a new core fantasy roleplay system. However, once SRD 5.1 was released into Creative Commons, it was suddenly clear that we could build on. This is actually what I wanted to know. And this is probably answering this. And I have one more comment I want to bring up. But in our initial announcements, it was necessary for Project Black Flag to be a new core fantasy roleplay system. However, once SRD 5.1 was released into Creative Commons, it was suddenly clear that we could build on the same foundation that so many people already know and love. As a bonus, Project Black Flag can streamline the new building while ensuring a thriving future for 5th edition. So that's it. There you go, folks. That's the concept of what I'm talking about here. It was going to be something new, and then they pivoted. So now we know that for a fact. What do you mean by streamline? We're doing 5e, but changing stuff that needs to be changed, and we're trying to do it in a way that keeps current 5e books and games useful. This is what we mean when we say the mystic words backwards compatible. We will change things. When we do, we will include clear instructions to help you keep using your existing 5e resources that might no longer be a perfect fit. And we'll try hard to do it in a way that won't make players or GMs want to cry in frustration. In general, Cobalt Press wants to use more straightforward language, reduce complexity, and organize information in a more user-friendly way than the 5e core rulebooks. Okay, we already read. This was in Celeste's design diary. Wait, you said 2 core rulebooks? Yep, that's coming. What is the playtesting process? Okay, three-step playtest process. We ask you to test the waters and provide feedback. This will take place over several months. A new playtest packet releases each month leading up to the Kickstarter. The internal development and editorial teams review your feedback and make changes where needed. The game undergoes a consultation and review process before returning to the editors for final changes. In other words, the public is at a sharp edge of the development process. Your feedback matters. You help Cobalt Press provide the best game possible. After each playtest packet release, we'll have approximately 10 days to submit your feedback via a short 5 to 8 question online form. And that's pretty much it. What is the playtest timeline? Okay, here we go. February 13th was the first packet. March will be 2, which is Spells, Wizards, and Fighters. April will be Monster Vault. May 2023 will be the Kickstarter. June will be playtest packet number 4, Clerics and Rogues. And August, Gen Con live community playtesting. I'm going to be at Gen Con. I know the kobolds. I'm going to be involved in some way. I'm not, we haven't talked, but this is me manifesting that. We're going to be in some form of conversation. And then about playtesting, where do I submit my playtest? Here it is. Design notes. All right, so we have, that's basically everything we already heard from the design diary. How can I support it now? Sign up for the playtest. There's some merchandise. Join the Discord, etc. Okay, so there was some stuff here that was new information. For example, the timeline we didn't know about before. Exactly. A little more insight onto the playtest process. And then this whole part about it not being a new game. So that pretty much answers what I had wanted to know. But I am still curious. Maybe I can get exclusive sneak peek, or I don't even know if I'd be able to talk about it. But I'd love to see what they were working on when they thought it had to be something new. And I'm just curious how different it actually was before they realized that they could go back to making it compatible with 5e. I'm very curious. But another thing that was talked about with me and some of my friends the other night was that people came down, in my opinion, I thought pretty hard on the playtest for the first playtest, for one reason or another. And again, obviously, this is a playtest, and because Cobalt Press is a little more nimble than, say, Wizards, they can switch gears a little bit. You know, you throw a bunch of stuff, you cast a wide net, you kind of go crazy, and then you rein it back in. This did seem like a relatively safe release, as it didn't really provide too much. Um, but one thing is, a lot of people seem to be disappointed. I don't know if it was the size of it, what was included, whatever it was. But I also feel like, during people also, I think, built up Project Black Flag a lot in their heads because of the whole OGL situation, right? We were all scared. We didn't know what the future of our favorite hobby and one of our favorite games was going to be, and it was a scary time, and everybody was like, what do I do? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, Cobalt Press comes out like a shining beacon in the dark saying, we got you, Project Black Flag, we're here to help. And then everybody immediately, the gears started turning in their head about what Project Black Flag would be. And and it just I think it got so overhyped from everybody preparing, like, oh my God, it's gonna fix all the problems, it's gonna be the best thing. And I'm not saying that it can't necessarily do that, but when you build up such expectations in your head that this is going to be the thing that fixes everything, more often than not, and you're more than likely going to have the opportunity where things possibly don't hit that ultimate mark. But either way, I am still looking to try to see if I can get Celeste on to do either an interview, maybe even a live stream chat where we could talk to her about some stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I just want to talk to her about what's going on, and then maybe some of the thought processes. Like I said, I'll film a separate video doing my version of the survey. But let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, and I'll see you all next time.